Today, we're unboxing influence, identity, and power. Our guest builds at the intersection of emerging technology, capital, global positioning, and narrative in architecture. She's an angel investor, international communication strategist, and someone who speaks about identity and sovereignty in a way that challenges the traditional leadership playbook. Welcome to Unboxed Talks, a podcast by Unbox and Morph, where we sit down with operators, entrepreneurs, and creators who are shaping the region. Real conversations, real journeys, no fluff, no scripts. This is Unboxed Talks. Welcome to Unboxed Talks, Chantel. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you so much. I should say merci beaucoup, shukran.
Ahla wa during the pandemic, you had a momentum and basically you went into recognition, credentials, but internally something was misaligned. What specifically felt off back then, and what happened in that moment?
Well, during that time, so in reference to when I had, I think you'd call it an identity crisis in the pandemic, I think many people had this same kind of pivot moment because, a lot of what we knew was reformatted and reconstructed. And so we had to choose, and readjust what we were doing. And I think I had to question myself and find out, is this really aligned with my truth and everything that I believe that my mission and calling is on this earth? And so I asked myself this, and it didn't feel aligned because it wasn't serving my highest potential. And I felt like the more I learned and knew, the more I realized I didn't know. So I had to unlearn everything that I ever knew, all the education of business and commerce, dental hygiene, real estate, computer programming, everything. And what I did was I said, you know what? If you were to start from scratch and recreate your identity, what is it that would serve your highest calling? And I did exactly that.
How did you dive into that depth of unlearning and relearning? Or what was basically that trigger moment that you knew that you are destined for something else?
Well, I've always known that I was destined for something else because when you realize that you are from a source of omniscience, omnipotence, and omnipresence, so that's all knowing, all present, and all wise, and you tap into that source, even though that we are, finite beings, we have infinite potential when we're connected to that source. And I had to really pray about it, and I was directed. And I actually don't see pivots as something that's negative. I see it as getting back into alignment and accelerating maybe something that you're doing, but in a different direction that is more aligned with your authentic self. And I felt like, when I was kind of directing my life from this place, I realized that I shouldn't be attached to identities. Because when you're attached to your identity, which is, what country you're from, I'm a woman, I have done this, I've achieved this, I stopped being attached to my identity many years ago. Because I realized that identities, who are you without all those attachments, right? So I am not my accolades and who I am and what I've achieved. I am, as I tell everyone, I'm a human being, not a human doing. One of my pet peeves is when people ask, when they meet you, what do they ask you? What do they ask?
What do you do?
Exactly. They want to know, what's your name? What do you do? And where are you from? And so
And you felt that those are limiting, actually, you as a being, as a human, right?
100%. Like I say, I wish that as a collective, that we would be more, instead of being on so autopilot with this, I find, people, it's like when people say, hey, how are you? It's like, for me, I'm just like, no, like, do you really care how I'm doing? So instead of asking people, who are you? What do you do? And where are you from? I care more about like, who are you? What's your name? I ask, right? Oh, like I ask how it's spelled. What does your name mean? See, this is what is driven in my soul, is to ask better questions. I love to find meaning in everything and everyone. I like to, when you give life meaning from even something as simple as that, I don't care about where you're from. I care about where you're going. I want to know what beauty you find, what moves you. I want to know, what places feel most like home, what places in the world or within yourself feel most like you. That's what really makes me connect with people. And I love connecting with people because I find we live in a society where there's so much disconnection with, technology and with social media and with AI, and we don't even know what's true and what's not. And so I try to strive for connection with people because I feel like a lot of us are missing that.
I love that. But going back to the identities, what did you have to let go back then? Was it the overachiever, the validator, maybe the strategic operator? What identity did Chantel kill?
I think I had to kill a lot of ego. I think a lot of people become more successful when they don't operate from ego or pride. I find that when me, as someone who works with other individuals who are other entrepreneurs, when they operate from this, it's what hinders their growth. It limits them. It's not operating from a place of open-mindedness, open-heartedness, and their ego and pride is literally the number one killer. So I had to operate from a place of, I would say love for myself, love for others, and love for the source of everything that created me. And when you are connected to that, you operate from your highest calling. And dropping the ego meant letting go of everything that I knew, and that meant all my programming. Um, especially when I moved to the Middle East, being, from the West, it's a lot of reprogramming that you have to do. And because you're taught a certain thing about, life and about the way the world is. And that's why I've traveled the world, so I can learn more about cultures and people. And it's helped me in business. But I've had to let go of a lot of what I was programmed to do. And that means others' opinions.
Mhm. And what do you think the most high performing founders are operating from? Is it survival? Is it what kind of standpoint are they behind, even when they look successful?
So I meet a lot of people that seem successful on the outside. They have everything and they're in fight or flight. They are sometimes they're so disconnected. I look into their eyes and I'm like, "Are you okay?" And they're like, I just can't, I just can't catch a breath." And this is what I love meeting people like this because I once operated from that. And there's people that operate from that survival, but you should be operating from that place that helps you really thrive. And to do that, you have to really check in with yourself and ask yourself that, is this in alignment with my core values, my mission, my calling? And if you don't know what that is, you have to define what that is, because some people think they have to find it. You have to create that. And sometimes it's recreating what that is. And I find even with brands, they have to, everyone knows that every brand has a brand identity. What is their mission, their values? And if this is not clear, that's how a brand gets off of alignment as well. It's with on an individual entrepreneurs and organizations, they all go and they're not aligned because they're not aligned with their mission and their values. They have to remember why they started in the beginning.
I love the brand identity example. I can relate to that as a marketer, and it's spot on, to be honest. Now, moving a bit towards the panic buying when others panic sell. That's something that was, I believe, meaningful in the trajectory of you being inside the capital market and inside trading as a whole. I believe during a market crash, you leaned in while others retreated. What happened then? Was it a calculated buy in, or what happened?
Yes, it's asymmetrical, and it is definitely something that I always say I believe it's about my risk tolerance. I think that's what my resilience and my risk tolerance is what separated me back then. So, and I'm even doing it now, as you know, if you're aware that the markets are, there a lot of uncertainty is happening in the world right now. And I always say I thrive in uncertainty. I compare the humans to, because we're nature, I compare us to many things, but a seed is one of the best things because I believe our thoughts are seeds and we need to nourish them. And we sometimes can't grow if we don't have the right environments and we're surrounded by toxic things or people or places. And sometimes it's the infrastructure around us that we need to change, not always our calling or our mission or our professions. So I realized back then when, I always say when people were panic selling, I was panic buying because I love finding opportunity in times when there's uncertainty. That's the best time to grow. And I think that's what makes me who I am is that, it's kind of like, I don't want to say a trampoline or a boomerang, but it's kind of like you can't really accelerate unless you have that momentum. So like if our thoughts are seeds, and and you have to nourish them daily, your feelings are the conditions and the environment that grows them. So I'm always tapping into my feelings and how I feel and making sure that they're in alignment and synchronized and I have not just peace but harmony between my thoughts, and I can really grow. And being in uncertain environments, I don't want to say that I love them, but I definitely embrace them, and that's how I have I guess I want to say accelerated my portfolio and my life, because there's so many times where I could have given up. I could have been, I don't even want to say, but just I couldn't have woken up on certain days. I never had those thoughts, but and I just kept going because I have that resilience within me to know that I'm connected to that infinite source of love and beauty. And I think that that's what's so special about life.
So you thrive on challenges, basically.
I thrive not necessarily on challenges, but on the opportunity to grow through a challenge. I love growing and learning.
And about the you're a risk taker and you go full throttle when you are challenged or where you see an aligned opportunity. Tell us a bit about that calculated risk. Is it really calculated or that's just a feeling and you go in?
No, it definitely is. I mean, this is the thing is like, I don't want to really say it's intuition, but it really is part data and interpreting the data and making those, calculated risks that are, I want to say they're from a logic side, but you also have to tap into that, I want to say that extra, it's the essence of what we were born with. And it's, utilizing your, I want to say your intuition from a place where you're like, okay, does this feel right? They say, they say that if something feels off, you should just trust that. And sometimes I find that the narratives in the news, they want you to think that this is the end. And that's when I'm like, no, I look at the bigger picture. So I'm the type of person where I look at, okay, the news that I'm reading, who owns the news? Who benefits most from this message? So when I'm making investment decisions or any kind of decisions with business or even my personal life, who's giving me this information and who's going to benefit most from the information they're giving and the narrative that they're giving me? So even with the books I read, I want to know, even when I was in school and they would teach history class, I want to know who wrote these textbooks because I don't align with some of these things that are written. And as you know, they have rewritten history books and they're rewriting history books in many countries right now because they're finding out that it wasn't actually the true story. So that's what I do. I ask bigger questions, and when I make my investment decisions, I look at the narratives because I'm in PR. People can spin narratives so much. And when you see through it, you don't just look at the content, you look at the context. Then you can make true decisions. And it served me right more times than not.
And when you say that once you realize you are the portfolio, you stop waiting for certainty. Now, let's talk a bit about your portfolio. What's in it currently? What do you invest in? And what's the strategy of building that portfolio?
So, compute and energy and data, this is the future. So, when people are looking at what the future is, it is such a beautiful time period because I believe that technology is kind of in this adolescent stage with we're in this intelligence era with AI. I feel like it's definitely an adolescent stage and we're still kind of shaping and molding what the future is going to look like. So one of the things that I align with is I'm looking at things that are responsible AI, ethical AI. I'm looking at things that are going to add value in energy and compute. Data is huge. So I'm looking at tech stocks and things like this. So this is not financial advice. You have to always say this when you're talking about these types of things. So in my portfolio, and I also invest in companies. So I'm an angel investor. So I've invested in startups and organizations that are, in health, biotech, wellness, anything that promotes longevity and serves the greater good of humanity. I believe at the end of the day that we are sovereign beings, and I want to, help find solutions to the future of humanity's greatest, what's going to serve their greatest good with their health, because of course, health is true wealth, and I think health and a healthy mind are the two most important things to me. So I'm not just using my
You're into biohacking also, right?
Yes, biohacking is something that I definitely I've traveled to most of the wellness and longevity hubs around the world. I've gone to the best of the best, and I've tried all the different innovations and technologies out there that
What's
do
the
this.
secret to longevity?
It truly
Did you find it or not yet?
Well, they always talk about meditation. They're like, okay, meditation saved my life. But prayer is a form of meditation. I think being connected to that infinite life source where that it's a connection to eternity. It's this beautiful eternal source. So I connect to that daily because it renews my spirit and my mind every day. And I believe that when you nourish your thoughts and you eat healthy, you get sleep. It's just simple things. People think that it's something outside of there, but it's actually within here and just nurturing yourself. But your thoughts are really important because when you know and you learn about neuroplasticity and how your neurotransmitters are accelerated when you get certain levels of healthy blood going through and then you realize, okay, what helps that? Well, it's nourishing your body with correct nutrients, this, that, and when it's so simple. And that's how and being in environments that are healthy. So when you tell yourself positive things and when you're around people and environments that encourage you and uplift you, you can grow like that little seed and you don't have weeds around you, I say.
And does that help you in growing your businesses and performing better, being, I don't know, more fierce and have the energy to be at all fronts?
Yes. So every day I make time mindfully when I even eat. Something as simple as eating. People are like, eat mindfully. Like just something so simple as drinking water, getting sleep, eating mindfully. And what that means is when you eat your food, chew on the food, make sure it's enough time so you truly savor it and it's, you're breaking it down. And feel the textures, smell it, take a moment to appreciate the people who grew your food and all the ingredients that went into your food. It's an animal, God forbid, but I mean, I'm not, but there's honor the death that had to take place for you to eat that. I pray over my food. A lot of people don't. I actually pray over my food because I bless the hands that prepared it. And all the gardening and all the everything that went into it. And when something that simple and then when it goes into your body, because it's all energy, right? And then when you honor that all that in something that small, you honor everyone and anything. So whenever I meet someone like you, I want to honor your light and your love within you. I'm not transactional. I'm not one person that goes into a conference or any room and I don't need anything from anyone. When you realize that your cup is so overflowed, all you want to do is just give. And that's what I do. And it comes back to me in so many other ways.
I love that. Thank you for sharing it. Chantel, you have many interests, if you want to say, and many focuses. And you currently run a global PR agency. You're an investor. Uh, you are an angel investor as well. You do talks, panels. How do you diversify that much? And you're building your personal brand, I believe, at the same time. How do you have the time to really be 100% at all of those? And what's the real focus for you for the next 5 years?
Well, time is something that I believe is just a word to me because we all have the same 24 hours. And what I do is I try to maximize that by really just honoring each moment. I always tell myself, am I creating the highest beauty in the moment that I have? Am I grateful for everyone and everything? And when you practice more gratitude and you realize that you're doing the best you can with every moment and you don't put limits on yourself, a lot of people are like, oh, I have this goal. I don't goal set, I soul set.
You don't have goals.
I don't have goal sets.
You
I have soul sets.
Okay.
So
what are soul sets?
So with a goal, it has to be, time measurable, this and that. With a goal, so there's goal setting and then soul setting. For me, it's what is aligned and what is going to serve my highest mission and purpose and calling and is going to serve others. Because when you're in service to others, so that's kind of like, it's like soul setting is kind of like, how am I going to serve other souls to reach their goals?
And how's that translated to your actual businesses?
Well, because I'm a publicist, when people hire me, I'm helping them not just achieve things on a professional level, but a personal level too. I see that a lot of times the moments that they feel defeated or like they're, maybe their company's going under, how I came up with my company, it's CEPR. So it means breathing life into your brand. So it's so I breathe life into brands, and what that means is when someone feels like they're suffocating or financially they're going under, they need more, maybe brand development, or they need to merge with another organization, or they need someone to add more capital to what they're doing. I help breathe life into that again, and that's the essence of it.
I really love how you blended energy and spirituality, in a sense, into the business world, and I really like the approach. So, can spiritual alignment and aggressive capital ambition coexist, you think?
I believe so, because if you're not operating from that, then what place are you operating from? And it's like, as I mentioned earlier, it's that kind of ego, or are you operating from a place of love and just appreciation and gratitude? And I think they can definitely coexist. It's conscious capital, and I do everything with intention. When I invest, when I trade, when I help organizations, everything I've done since I was a child has been from this place. It's kind of like, when you're a child, did you get asked what you want to be when you grow up?
Yeah.
And what did you say?
When I was around, I don't know, 5 to 7 years old, I always said I want to be a vet.
Okay. And what was the reason for that?
I used to love animals.
And because you saw suffering, or you had compassion? Or?
Yeah, I think it was compassion and playfulness, and being around animals makes you like enjoy your time.
So you have that. So then when you really ask yourself, because as a child, we don't realize why we're saying that, but you find out, I bet you today, that you love being playful and compassionate and affectionate, and because that's your nature.
Exactly.
So, and you don't realize at the time. So when I was 5, I was asked, what do you want to be? I'm like, I want to be a dentist because everyone in my family was in the dental and medical field. And what I was really saying is, oh, I want to do what everyone else is doing. But then when you get a little bit older, because I wanted, the approval, right? And when you don't need that validation from others anymore and you realize the only one whose opinion is, then you come from another operation of how you do everything. And when I got a little bit older, it was at 13, I'm like, I want to be mayor. And then I realized, of course, I'm not mayor now, but I did work in politics. I used to write speeches for politicians, and I worked in media for them and a legislative aide. So I realized that what I was really saying is I want to advocate for others. I want to help my community. I want to help give a voice to those who don't have a voice. I want to empower. I want to educate. I want to liberate. Maybe mayors don't do this these days, but that's what I thought at the time.
Exactly. I wanted to tell you, that's not the
Service to others.
Yeah.
And when you get in touch with that, you realize that is the essence of who you are. And that's what my whole mission is today, is helping give a voice to others, helping empower communities, and helping be a change agent for people. And that's why I'm in these disruptive technologies. I'm a pioneer. I love shaping things and creating new ways and opportunities for people.
I love that. And I wish for you to be doing this for the rest of your life. And I know that real change will be happening. Chantel, we move to the rapid fire questions.
Oh, fun.
Are you ready for 10 quick answers?
Sure.
No overthinking.
No, I overthink all the time. I'm an
Don't.
ENTJ.
One word.
Okay.
Influence or integrity?
Integrity.
Power or peace?
Peace.
Capital or credibility?
Credibility.
Ego, enemy or fuel?
Enemy.
One word that describes your leadership now.
Authentic.
One identity you're currently outgrowing.
One identity that I'm currently outgrowing, I would say the westernized conditioning.
What scares you today?
I would say we're unknown to fear, yet we fear fear itself. So I don't want to fear fear.
AI, threat or liberation?
Liberation if it's done ethically and responsibly.
If everything reset tomorrow, what would you build first?
I would say that if everything was to reset, what do you mean, like banking?
I don't know. The world
Who's alive during this time? What kind of...
The world is done. You have a reset, clean slate.
Well, hopefully by then I'm with my creator. So I would say thank you to them. That's because that's what matters most.
Who are you without your titles?
I am the essence of omnipresence, omnipotence, and omniscience.
One
the source
word.
The source of infinite intelligence and love.
That's the longest 5 questions ever. Thank you, Chantel. You ask the Unboxed community to engage with you online, but if someone listening right now wants to genuinely add value to your world, what kind of people are you looking to connect with? And are they investors, founders, policymakers, builders, media? I don't know, you name it.
I would say anyone, because again, we are not our titles. So anyone that operates from the same place, that if you resonate with what I said today, connect with me at and then Chantel _Elloway.
We'll add it in the description.
CHANTEL, like la chanter, to sing.
Enchanté. Chantel, this wasn't just about PR or capital. This was about identity, sovereignty, and integrated leadership. Thank you for unboxing this with us. It was a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much, Carlos.